Hello everyone. In previous session, I have explained to you about Maven, and I think you all would have understood Maven. In the section, in that while explaining that session, I also spoke about something XML in some places, right? So today I will take some basics of XML, WSDL, XSD, all these files, basic of this JSON, what is the use of these files, where they are used, and what kind of files are these, right? So I have prepared a notepad, before this session, what need to deliver today. Let me share my screen first. So this is what, this is what the notepad I will talk today. I have, in the files, and these are the file type I'm going to talk. XML, XSD, WSDL, RAML, YML, JSON. And in XML, XSD, I have to put one more here, you know, DTD, which I missed. And maybe, yeah, that's how it goes, right? WSDL, what is WSDL? If you are a fresher or beginner, then you will have some confusion about all this. Today, what I will talk only basics about this file. In detail, I will not go. If you really want to go in detail about this file, call me, message me. Always I have given you my number also. I will show that in this today also in the screen. You can always, this is my details, right? My mail ID, my LinkedIn profile, my cell number, my YouTube channel, and this is, my cell number. You can call me, you can message me, you can always mail me. I will and definitely I will help you, right? So definitely I will help you to learn more in depth, and any of this concept you want to learn in depth, call me. And these sessions, what I will take one-to-one session with you, this will be kind of knowledge sharing session, and I won't charge for this. I share my knowledge, and I will, while sharing knowledge, I do also learn something, right? So this is how this is your knowledge sharing session. You can always connect me, always call me. I will definitely guide you, help you. So let's go to the last year. See, if you want to learn something more detail about this XML, XSD, DTD in depth, what you can do, you can always go to, you know, you can always go to W3 website, right? You can always go to W3 schools, World Wide Web schools, and you can always learn from there. See, XML stands for Extensive Markup Language. XML was designed to store and transport data. You can say they are kind of data carrier, right? They carry data throughout the network from one application to another application. Enterprise service bus, they extensively use XML XML documents to transfer messages from one application to other application. What is ESP? ESP is kind of a middleware, right? Which connect two systems and map that data for accessing the information or sharing the information between these two applications. Here also what you can do, you can define the XML, like this, you can define the XML. They have so many tutorials you can learn from this XML. What is this? Why all these, right? You can learn all this from this XMLs, right? So see, if you talk about XML standards, they tutorial also deep in the following XML standards. There are so many XML standards. You have XML Ajax, XML DOM, XML XPath, XML XSD, XML XQuery, XML DTD, XML schema, XML service. So what I will talk about more about XML schema, that is XSD, and little bit about DTD. Not much. So So when you talk about XML schema, what is this schema? And when you talk about DTD, what is this DTD? See, XML as the basic definition of XML here you are seeing in W2 or W3 schools. What it says, the basic definition it says, extensive markup language. designed to store and transport data, right? So see, if I hold XML and I put some values in that XML and transfer it, is it going to make me any sense? You think about that. Is it going to give me any sense that this data is proper, this data can be used, right? So haphazardly, if I create an XML and transfer data from one application to other application, no one will understand it, right? Again, it will be critical. Why? So whatever data I'm passing from this, from this application to other application, or maybe with different applications, I need to define or I need to pass the XML tag or XML structure to them. So rather doing that, if you have a XML definition, you can always pass that definition uh, stakeholders or to the uh, individuals or actors who is going to use this particular application, right? Your application. So see, XSD is basically XML schema definition. It defines the structure of your XML. It defines the attribute of your XML. It defines the elements of your XML. So whatever XSD defines, your XML should hold that kind of data, that kind of attribute, that kind of elements, right? So DTD is also same. DTD is also called document type definition. It defines the structure and legal elements and attributes of an XML document like your XSD. The difference here is, you know, the difference here is the structure or the way you define a DTD and the way you define a XSD. So that is the only difference. And almost all of them are similar. Uh, if you see about the DTD, here just some internal DTD. If you see, you just look into my screen, it is saying an internal DTD declaration. If the DTD declared inside the XML file, it must wrap inside the doc type. If you are defining this DTD inside the XML file, you should wrap it with doc type. See here, they have done that, right? Inside the doc type, they have defined the DTD, and below that the XML is there. What they're saying, element not to from heading body, right? Element to C data, element from PC data, element heading, element body. See, not to top from the element, right? Journey, heading, reminder, body. Don't forget me this weekend, right? Note. So this XML, what you are seeing, note XML below, that structure was defined by the DTD above it, right? Or what you can do, you can have two separate file, one file for the DTD and the other file for the your XML. Here they have already been defined. They have done the segregation below. If I come below an external DTD, see here they have mentioned node.dtd, and above that you have the XML for that node.dtd. And what they are doing, doc type, node, system, node.dtd. They are giving the reference to the node.dtd. Here they are giving the reference to the node.dtd file, so that whatever elements are defined in this DTD file, that should be that your XML should hold that particular elements and attributes. This is what simple basic information about DTD. If you want, you can use DTD with XML or XSD XML. Now we go to the XSD, right? So here there is a question: why use a DTD, right? So that's what I say. With a DTD, independent groups of people can agree on standard DTD for interchanging data, right? You can agree on a contract, or you can agree with a set of attributes. Yes, this is the DTD, this is the agreement, or this is the contract which you will use to share data from application A to B, from application B to C, or B to A. So you can, that is one agreement. So what happens now? You create your application will create XML according to DTD. Their application also will create XML according to DTD. So that will be a standard or format which you will be using. That is the same reason why you need to have a XSD. So go for XSD here. What is an XML schema, right? What is an XML schema? The same describe the structure of an XML document, attributes, elements of your XML. Here the same thing they have taken. Note, right? See, XML hashtag is version here 1.0, then XML schema this thing and access element name node, complex type and complex type. Then inside that sequence element to from heading body. What is this complex type? And what is this? See, there is something called complex type and simple type. See, simple type are like your integer, string, double, boolean. These are called simple type. Or the primitive data type in Java, you can call it as simple type. The non-primitive data type or object are complex type. So not is particularly, if you think about Java programming language, not is an object, and in that object you are holding, another four attributes. That is to, which is type string, from, which is type string, heading is also type string, body is also type string, and coming down below. Okay, they have not explained, they have not given the XML. So this XSD will also have the same XML what you have seen in the case of DTD, right? In the case of DTD, the same XML here, the same XML will suffice in case of XSD, right? So this is how it is. Now, if I go to here, there is something called WSDL. So before going to WSDL or AML, what I will do, I have one XSD which I have defined. I will explain you that XSD here. See, one XSD I have created here, that is person dot. So I have defined one XSD here. This is one XSD I have defined, right? And this XSD is holding a person, and this XSD is holding a person, and here if you see that person is complex type, it is holding name. It is holding name is one attribute is name, the other attribute is person ID, another attribute gender, another attribute age. So if you compare according to Java, person is a Java is an object, right? Person is an object which is holding name, a data type, a name variable of data type string, person ID variable of data type string, gender variable of data type string, age variable of data type string. If I talk about, after this mean occur and main occurs, what does this define? See, if you define mean occurs, that means this is how many time it is going to present or how many time it is going to get populated in that XML. If I say mean occurrence 0, that means that is not mandatory to be present in that XML. If I say max occurrence 1, that means if it is present, it should be only one attribute, only one name attribute should present. If max occurrence is more than 1, what will happen? It will become a list or collection. So in XSD you can also define unbounded or bounded, that means list or collection. Array list also you can define array. In XSD you can define that kind of complex type attributes, right? So in second person ID string, min occur is 1, max occur is 1. That means min occurs means minimum it is at least the value should be present in the XML, otherwise it will throw exception. It's mandatory. If you make min occurs 1, it is making the particular element mandatory, and max occur is 1. That means only one attribute will be there, and it is mandatory, right? If I go to this person.xml, if you see here, right? If you see, I have added something, randomly. Something I have added here. So see, numbers, Satya, personality, male, 44. That is my age. I just now spoke to you about mean occurrence and max occurrence, it's mandatory and non-mandatory, right? Optional. I can show you by doing validation against this XSD. And one more thing I want to say you before going to do the validation of this XML against the XSD. See, what is the importance of XSD and DTD? Another importance of XSD and DTD is whenever any person or any application is sending the request to my application, and if I have the XSD or a DTD, and if I have that agreement with me, whatever application is going to send me the request, that should validate the XSD, to check the XML is, the XML is following the contract or the agreement which is decided during the implementation. So that is the reason you validate your XML data against the XSD, and if the validation is success, that means whatever data you're getting from the client side or from some other application, that is valid. Right? So now let's go and validate this XML against this XSD. Right? So see, I will take this XSD, copy paste. There are so many tools in Java also. You can have program to validate it. But what I will do, I will have one online program to validate XML against XSD. You can do against DTD also. So let me, it is saying optional. You copy paste your XSD here. So I will copy paste my XSD. This is the XSD which I copied from my Notepad++. And here, then I'll go to the person.xml. I'll copy this XML, right? And go to the same browser, same validation, validate, same validate freeformatter.com, right? This is the website I'm using. You can, so many validation website is there. You can use that. See, I have put here the XML also. Let me click on validate XML. Cannot find the declaration of element person, line 147. See, the problem here is, if you see the XML if you see here in the XML, I have satyaa.com, right? The XSI schema location this and schema.xsd. So if I come here, I have the value is different, right? Com slash this. So this, because of this reference XI schema location, it is not properly matching. So let me, or XMLNS, if you see XMLNS is this, right? Satya.com, this is because of that it's not matching. So let me take this. See, these are those dummy URL I've given, and this dummy URL should match with your XSD to make it validate. Otherwise, it will feel it is a different, XSD. So here it is there in XML. Also, you have to put the same thing here, right? So now click on validate XML. See, the XML document is valid. That means the XML exercise, that the XML the exercise schema location, whatever I have added here, it is www.satya.com new. That is the schema. Let's say I'll remove this Satya, this HTTP, right? I will just put here satya.com. Here also I will just put satya.com and see what will happen. Here satya.com. Here also I will put. So now what will happen? I'll click on validate XML. See, the XML document is valid. So basically the XMLNS, what is XMLNS? XMLNS is basically XML namespace. So whatever XML namespace is there in the XSD, we should use the same XML namespace to make it valid. See, coming down to that, I will make it a little bit, bigger so that it will be visible to you. I think it's better now. See, if you're coming down to these elements, right? In this element, if you see name, type, existing, min occur 0, max occur 1, right? So min occur is 0, it is not mandatory, right? So here age, gender is mandatory. Gender I will make 0, right? So it's not mandatory. Now only one element is mandatory, person ID. Now what I will do, here I'll remove this name, Satya, right? I will remove this and let me do validate. The XML is still valid, right? What I will do, I will bring back that name. I'll bring back that name. So here I added the name, right? Satya again. What I will do, I will, oh, sorry. Let me first remove it. I was to show you something. So name is not there, right? What is happening in this XML? So in this XML XSD, I have made min occur is 0 for name. Now I'll make min occur 1 for min occur 1. I'll make it right. What does that mean? That means it is mandatory. It's mandatory. It's not optional. So now let's validate this XML. The CBC complex type invalid content was found starting with element satyaa.com person ID. One of the satyaa.com name is expected in line 3, column 13 is missing, right? It is expected. What does it mean? Is expected means that element should present, but it's not available, it's not present because of which it is an error, right? So let me put back that element now and do a valid XML, validate the XML, validate the XML. So see, the XML document is valid. You might have understood. So by XSD validation, we'll be able to see whatever data you are receiving from the other application, is it valid data or valid tags or attributes are present in the XML document or not, by doing the XSD validation. Let's say I'll just remove, make it empty, nothing. Now validate what will happen. It will still say the XML document is valid even if the value or is not present in the name tag, right? So here data validation is not done. It does only the XML document validation. Whatever document we are receiving from the client side or from the other application, is that valid or not? That is only done by the XSD validations. Your data validation, you should take care what kind of data you are receiving. That should be taken care by you. There are so many validator frameworks which validate data. That nowadays the applications are integrating these all validator frameworks to validate their data. So this is this XML thing, right? Now talking about or coming to WSDL. What is WSDL? WSDL basically web service descriptive language. Here it will be there in, yeah, here it is there again, right? Yes, here it is there. See, WSDL stands for Web Service Descriptive Language. Is an XML based language for describing web services, right? So WSL, WSDL is also, you can say, kind of agreement or contract between the stakeholders or between different applications. Between different applications, the operations or the you can say the services provided by a server. The services provided by a server will have an agreement for the consumer, right? The services provided by the server will have an agreement for the consumer. So that agreement was given by this WSDL. So WSDL is again a contract or a agreement done between the client and server applications. So whoever is consuming this or a service provider and a consumer, whoever is going to consume the service deployed, web service deployed by web service deployed web service, that particular consumer need to follow the contract given by the WSDL to access that particular deployed web service. So let's I will show you one sample WSDL. Right, I'm just looking if they have it here. Otherwise I will. Yes, they have it here. But let me find if some WSDL sample WSDL I can find on internet. See, WSDL also holds the, me, I just want to see a small WSDL which will be easier for me to explain. So, yeah, this should do the work. Let me copy this. Let's play it from .NET++. I think this is the best way to go through it. Yes. See, here, if you see, this is a simple WSDL, right? In this simple WSDL, if you see, it has definition. This is called WSDL definition. And this definition will start and end here, right? This WSDL definition, and see there will be different tag to define a WSDL. In some places you will find WSDL colon definition. You will in some places you will find WSDL colon type. You know there are different attributes, different XML tags which define the WSDL. If you want to learn more about it, always connect to me. We will discuss about this. But what this WSDL sample I copied from this thing W3 schools. I'm just going to, not W3, what is that? Tutorials point. Just I'm going to explain that little bit. See, here you see a message, say hello request. If we talk about Java web services, in Java web services, this hello, say hello request will is particularly an object, a class, which will be holding first name and the data type is string. Similarly, the response is greeting, the response variable is greeting and string. See what basically it says that say hello request is the request object and say hello response is the response object. So whenever you send a request, you have to send say hello request object, and when you receive a response from that particular service, you will receive a response called say hello response. Right? Here they have explained also. Using port type, in port type they have defined hello port type and operation name. There will be method or operation which you are going to invoke from that service, that is say hello, and say hello has parameters. One is input parameter say hello request and output parameter is say hello response. This is what your web service, what you have in the operation or the method which is you have deployed as a service in your web service, right? So this binding name, if you come down to line number 23, this binding name hello binding, TNS hello port type. It is saying soap binding style. What kind of binding this will be? RPC is remote procedure call. It is going to follow the remote procedure call. There are different styles. We can discuss it later. See, this is I'm going to discuss all the basic information about these all files what I have shown in the beginning. So if you seriously want to know in detail about all this, message me, mail me, or call me, or comment on the YouTube video. Definitely, I'll be happy to share my knowledge and discuss with you. See here again they have written this operation, this binding, right? This binding totally what you see here till this, it is going to bind this operation with the hello service. This is how it is going to bind. See in input and output, if you see they have given the body details, right? The namespace, encoding style. So it is going to encode, it is going to XML schemas.xml sub.org SOAP encoding. So whenever you send a request to from the SOAP, these are basically SOAP protocol, right? So they will be using SOAP protocol. This web service will have remote procedure call, and we are to be using SOAP protocol to access the service. If the consumer will access the service using the SOAP protocol, and the service name will be hello service. If you come down, it will be hello service. When you access this service, the service will be hello service. It will to access the service. You can check how you can check using this this particular URL. It is an example URL, but in case of www.examples.com, this should be replaced by your server name, port, server name and port. If, let's say if I deploy it to localhost, it will be on localhost, and on Tomcat, it will be localhost colon 8080 slash say hello slash it will be hello service.wsdl or something like that, right? So this is how a WSDL file explains about a service deployed by that particular particular web service created out of this WSDL. So if this is how this file's importance, and this file serve as a contract between the consumer and server, service between the service consumer and the service provider. So this is what I have taken from here. Before I think I have here one more. This is one more WSDL file from IBM.com. That is one sample. See this also. I talked about WSDL type. Let's see if it is there. I have clicked it. It's taking some time. Yeah, let me copy this. This is a very big. Let me copy this and paste it here. Right, if you see, as I explained earlier, see WSL colon definition, you have it here, right? And here also WSL colon tags. See, these are the tags used. You should not worry about these tags. You should worry about the core part of it, like the element you are defining, the complex type you are defining, the schema you are defining, the target namespace you are defining. Here also it is same. You see element name get weather. Here also you have get weather response. And if you go down, you will find a operation. See WSL message, get weather, swap out parameters. WSL parameter, get weather response, right? If you come down a little bit, you will find a operation there somewhere. Yeah, see, get weather swap in, get weather swap output. See what they have done here in this particular, they have get weather object is, and this object again is wrapped with get weather swap in object, right? Get weather swap-in object as a parameter get weather, and that get weather swap-in is used as a input parameter to your operation get weather. See, this is how this is they made little bit complex. They wrap this object in another object, so it depends how we are creating the how you are creating your operation, how you are creating your messages in WSL, and how you're going to create a web service and deploy it. It depends on you while designing the web service. The fast part is, or for development, while designing the web service, the fast part is you should identify what kind of service you're going to design and develop and deliver. Based on that, you need to identify your operation and messages. After identifying your messages, operation and messages, accordingly you should create one WSDL file. After the creation of WSDL file, then you go and implement. When implementing, there is two approaches for web service. One is contract fast, one is contract last. I would say you always go with contract fast. If you go with contract fast, you have a contract and you know how to develop it and how to deliver it. What people do in some cases, contract last cases, fast they write the code, they deploy the web service, and they generate WSDL from that deployed web service rather creating their own. It again depends on the architect or the developer or the person who is designing the web service. So let's go to the next point now. What is the next point I thought of discussing? Where is that my query? This thing. Yeah. So here it is. Next is RML, YML, and JSON. See, as I said, WSDL is a script language for web services. Similarly, RML is a contract or an agreement for RESTful APIs. Right? I will show that. And YML, YML, RML uses YML structure for creating a contract or agreement for RESTful APIs. JSON is another structure of another structure of data storing or data transferring. So we'll see that also. Let's go to YML first, and then we'll go to RML. Right? Now we'll do same thing. RML, W3 skill, do W3 skill is having RML. Let's see. Oh, YML, sorry, YML. YML, see, here it is YML. Yeah, so we came into YML. See, what is YML? YML is the abbreviated, it is saying abbreviated form of YML and markup language. Is data serialization language which is designed to be human friendly and works well with other programming language for every task, right? So this is again your kind of XML only. It has its own structure, right? It has its own structure. YAML int markup language, right? It is a data segregation language that matches user expectation of raw data. It is designed to be human friendly and works with other programming language. It is useful to manage data and includes Unicode printable character. This this is how the YAML. Wait, I will show you some example YAML. That's what I'm looking for here. There is something called full length example. Let's go to that. Yeah. So if you see, this is the example of YAML, right? I go to, I think I have explained you this, but I don't know. Let me go to the XML. And the XML which I had it here. Yes. See, if you see this XSD, what I explained you there, percent type in validating before going to YAML, just I just want to tell you something here. See, this is that thing, and we have XML for this, right? So how this XML will look in case of YML, right? We will go for that also. That will make easy. Same XML, YML, and JSON. Be online YML. See, this is saying put your XML here, and you will get the YML. So I'll take this XML there and see what kind of YML you are getting there. Let me maximize this little bit. This only the difference is the structure. See here, the first root element is person. Here also root element is person, and then space tab name, because person is coming inside the name is coming inside the person. That's why you have to give a tab and then name Satya, and then person ID this, gender this, age this. See this XML schemas it is showing at the below. These are not required because here for YML these are not required. This is coming out because from the person XML is, right? So this is how your structures look like. If you have XML structure, then that similar structure of for the person XML, you will have person YML like this. And for JSON, that will all be same way. I will just go back to this YML full length here. See here it is converted to this thing. YML example. We're going through that. Yes. Always sometimes these images from the Google it helps actually. See, if you talk about this YML, see the structure. First name, last name, hair color, married, spouse. Then that in spouse is the root here. Inside that spouse, they have spouse name, occupation, interest. And then comes dog count. Two dogs, dog one, dog two. Then you can have cat counts. Cats, cat one, cat two. Like that, you can create the YML, and this is called YML structure, right? Let's now go for the RAML. You need to little bit understand RAML. RML is basically defining RESTful API. I will give an RML. When I was working with Oracle Health, that is earlier at Cerner, so I used swagger.io to create RML for our RESTful APIs, which we have deployed on AWS Cloud using serverless, deployed on serverless component of API on AWS, right? RAML, RAML, Swagger. Uh, let's see if I can find something here. Swagger editor. If I find something that will be very helpful to us. Yeah. So always you will have a default example in Swagger editor, that is pet store, and here this is pet store open API, right? So see, in this from open API line number 1 till line number 36, this this is just kind of description. This is just kind of a description. Whatever messages you are seeing here, that kind of message, like Swagger pet store open API 3.0, whatever the message you are seeing on right side, right? And some useful links, term of service, contact the developer, Apache 2.0, find out more about Swagger. These all are, these all are coming from, from line number 1 to line number 37. The actual content is from line number 38. See, if I delete this, what will happen? Everything went off, right? And it is showing some error. So that's how, you know, uh, still I have something, like, let me delete all this. See, everything went off, right? So it depends on you what you want to have in your this thing. This is the description, and this is the default description, and this description give you brief explanation about your API and what you are having in your API. And let's say if you have some external link to where you have documented about this API, more about this API, theoretical documentation or some kind of documentation, you can always use them as external link, how they are used here. Yes, I'll show you little bit about the external link. If you see, come to here in the top, open API, then info, then title, Swagger pet store, open API 3.0 description. See, this is a sample in line number 5. This is a sample pet store, and this whatever they've written till down, it is coming here in the right side. If you see that same content you have here, right? And then they have written some useful link, right? Some useful link here they have written, and below that there is a link for the pet store, right? And there is a link for the pet store. So if you, and then the terms of service. So if you see this content from line number 10 to 12, it is what they have given the extra link there, the pet store repository and the source API definition of the for the pet store. Then you have term of service. In term of service, they have this, that is, yeah, that is another hyperlink. If you click, it will take you to another page. So all this you can go through that. I'll come to the main core part where actually we define the API and its information. So you see here path, right? In path you see slash pet. Slash pet is basically your interface or the API which you are going to provide for pet operation, right? And that in below that pet in line number 30 slash pet, you see in line number 30 slash pet 39. In line number 39 you see slash pet. Below that in line number 40 you see put. Put is basically a REST service method, right? In REST service you have put, update, delete, get, post, right? You have all these methods. So one of the method is put. So if you come down, see in the right side screen, put is there, update an existing pet. Tags, pet, summary, update an existing pet, right? You're able to see summary, update an existing pet. If I click on this, drop down, it shows the detail about this, right? Summary, then if you're saying parameters, if you see description, update an existing pet by ID, then operation, update pet, right? Then request body description, update an existing pet, request body, update an existing pet in the store. If you see in the right side, it is there. And this message is coming from your line number 47. And then content, what kind of content you are going to send to request body. So you can have application JSON, you can have application XML, you will see in line number 49 application JSON, in line number 52 application XML, in line number 55 XML application x hyphen www hyphen form dot URL encoded. If you see this top drive, all these trees are available here, right? And it is kindly creating a structure for your uh, definition for the request body, whatever you provided. See, whatever I will do, I will just delete line number 49, 50, 51, right? That application extension. See, I deleted application JSON. Now you don't have application JSON in request body. You have only application XML and application slash x www form URL encoded. So what basically it says, you know, but basically it says that whatever the request body you are saying, whatever the request you are sending, and sending to request body, its content should be a JSON type or a XML type or a x hyphen w for URL encoded type. If you come to that below, it is in line number 58, it is written required equal to 2. That means request body is mandatory. It is required. If you don't send, you send an empty request body through your HTTP request, it will throw you some error or some error response. It will throw you. Come down to the line number 59, you have responses, right? In response 50, line number 60 is 200. 200 is for successful operation. You have sent the request body of JSON type or XML type or your WW from your encoded type. It will send you after performing the operation based on your request. It will send you successful response, and in case of successful response, it will send you the error response or the response code as 200. If something goes wrong, right, it will send you response code 400 in line number 69. You can see in line number 71 404, in line number 73 422, right? So 22 is basically validation exception. 404 is get not found exception. 400 is invalidated ID supplied, right? And in case of 200 exception, 200 code response, your valid data is JSON and XML. If she in 200, you see line number 60, when it is success, it's saying description, and in description successful operation. In content, if you see in line number 62, what response body is going to hold? It is going to either hold the application JSON or application XML. And here they have given that response the $ref colon has component schema slash pet. So there is something they might have defined for that reference, you know. So see, this is how it is. This is how it explains. This is basically this RAML. It explains about your it explains about your what it explains about your data. It explains whatever the request body response is basically describes the REST API uh, service information, right? If you have a put method, if you have a post method, what your request body will have, what your put body, what your response body will have, it explains all detail about that, right? So it is similar to your WSDL in case of soft-based web service, and in case of RESTful API, AST API, the RML, both are kind of your agreement or contract between the service provider and service consumer, right? So you might have understood by this time what is this RML. Next we'll go for the JSON. What is a JSON? How JSON structure looks like. See, JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. JSON is text format for storing transfer and transporting data. JSON is self-describing and easy. Right? What I will do before going and explaining a little bit more about that, I will just share, XML to JSON. So here we have the URL. I will just put it that XML on the JSON. See that same person I have put it here. You have seen in case of RML, right? I will just show you. See how this JSON came into picture. Let me copy this. I will do at the end. I will show you all of that. Right? This is person, right? And this is the JSON. I'll get the RML also. YML. So let me put it here. That time, see, we have seen a different conversion, and now we have seen a different conversion because this XSD is in their top, right? So these guys are a little bit getting confused. So forget about that schemas. In case of YML and this, we don't have these schemas. So let me take it out. Yeah. Now we will see this at the end. Now let me go and explain you about JSON. Yeah. So see, JSON is a lightweight data interchange format. It's basically lightweight. It's lighter than YML and XML. It is also used to interchange data. It is used to transfer data from between these different application, and it is more helpful in case of rendering data on front end side. In front end side, when you render data on HTML pages, it helps you. It helps you to do it in more easier and better way. More easier way, and it is done very easily. Why use JSON? JSON format is synthetically similar to the code for creating JavaScript object. The way JavaScript we write or the create the JavaScript object, the syntax is similar. That is the reason why it is used. Whenever you have UI, whenever you have UI, it is always preferred to create a JSON object and send to the UI, because rendering will be easier. If you send an XML, it is really difficult. And this JSON, YML, XML, all these are but independent of any programming language. These are language independent, you can say, and it is not attached to any kind of programming language, right? So see, the JSON format is synthetically similar to the code creating JavaScript object. Because of this, JavaScript program can easily convert JSON data into JavaScript object, and it can easily render on the UI. That is the biggest reason why people use JSON in front end. If you have UI, you need to use JSON so that it will be used by jQuery or any. It can be consumed by jQuery, AngularJS, any kind of framework when using at the front end, React.js, whatever. They will consume this object and they will easily render the data without doing any manipulation. But if you send a XML to the UI frontend, that need to be manipulated. You need to read the data from the XML and then you need to render it. Right? That is another reason wherever you have more UI interaction with the services they send JSON object. And one more important factor why most of the REST API they have both JSON and XML format, because in some cases UI will be interacting with the API, and in some cases other applications will be interacting with the APIs. So whoever some in most of the cases when another application interact with REST API, they will be expecting a XML structure. But in case of UI, most of the time it will be expecting a JSON structure. So that is the reason why they have, right? So JavaScript has a built-in function for converting JSON strings into JavaScript object. See how easy to render it. So this is the basic information about your JSON. That's why I see here it is JSON is language independent. .NET application can talk with Java application. All the different programming language application they talk to each other. Uh, talk to each other. Mainframe also talks to each Java application. Java application also talks to mainframe. I had one situation where I need to talk to mainframe application in one of the my project. So how you do it, how you handle it, right? So these XML actually they help us to talk with each other. So see, when I'm talking about all these are uh, you know technologies or some kind of in beginning I say data carrier. You can say this is data carrier, not your phone mobile data carrier. These are the message carrier or information carrier from one application to other application, or maybe from the service provider to service consumer, right? And I was showing you about comparison, right? So see, this is how the XML looks, right? If I remove this XSD validation tags or all from here, if I keep this is your XML. This is your from line number 1 to 6 is XML. From line number 8 to 12 is what? From line number 8 to 12 is your YAML. And then JSON comes here, line number 14 to 24. Right? Line number 14 to 24 is JSON. So if you see here also in JSON also they've added this schema. So it's let me remove this. This is not required. We are just one from data. So this is see line number 21, right? It comes like this. What is the difference? Only the structure is different, right? Otherwise, everything is same. He is holding data, that is also holding data, and they all called as a data carrier or transferring or a document which is used to transfer data from one application to other application over the web or through the network, right? So this is how your uh, application. I'll show you something here. One more last point. When you implement web services, you will have this kind of XSDs, right? You can also generate Java classes from the XSD. So what actually when you go with contact fast WSDL, when you go with SOAP-based, when you go with implementing SOAP-based web service or maybe a REST API, first you have the contract that is your WSDL or RAML. So using WSDL, you can generate your classes, right? If you have the WSDL or XSD, you can always generate your classes. So if you see, this is one of the XSD which I have, right? This is one of the XSD which I have, and this project is called Java XML. This XSD is present in this project. You see here it is the XSD. Like this is hold on. Yeah, this is the XSD you see, and Java XML project, right? So I have a Maven script here which I have written. You know, if you think about Java version, I think from Java version 1.6 or 1.7, JAXB, JAXB is added there, and JAXB is the API which helps us to generate Java classes from WSD at that time. Using a command called XJC, we used to generate. I used to generate the Java classes using AND script. Also from the command prompt, you type XSG, it will generate the Java classes. And the same also you use in Maven form, it will generate the Java classes. I just maximize it. If you see here, I have written that JAXP Maven plugin, and the goal is XSC. I'm asking this particular Maven do the build and generate this person class for me. Whatever the person class is defined in this XSD, generate this person class for me. Let me first go to that project. Yeah, this is Java session. If you go to this Java session, Java XML project, right? So here I will delete this target folder because in my previous session I have explained when you take the build in Maven, a target folder get creates and all the deliverables from that Maven build will get into the target folder. So I'll delete this target folder and then we will run this Maven. I can run this Maven from Eclipse, I can also run this Maven from this. So let me run this Maven from the command prompt. Maven clean install. Let's go to that Java XML. Let's take some time. Yeah, the build started. Now the build is going on. I'm just keeping it parallelly. A target folder got created. It's generating the XP classes. See, now it will build the jar and deliver the jar. It also generate that Java classes file, .java file also it generated. It keep .java file along with the your jar file. But in my case, I know this form is not properly configured, so it is only giving me the jar file, .jar file. It is deleting after creating the jar file. So somewhere some configuration is missing. So if you add it, you will get the .jar file. Anyway, it's just to show you from XML XSDs, from the schema definition. Also, you can generate Java class. This is only to show you, and I just want to show you also that see the Java classes are there. The person class is inside that by decompiling it using the div compiler which I downloaded in previous session. See, com dot example.vo, you have the person object here. See, you have name, person ID, gender, age, name, person ID, gender, age. I made name as a mandatory, so C required true. I made ID as mandatory, required true. I made it says gender as optional false. I made age as optional false. See, there are so many so many Java previously when we were working for software-based web services, we need to have this conversion of XSD to Java object. It is the easier way to develop a web service, and it is the faster way to develop a web service. So always contact first is always best. Either you go with RAML, that is REST API, RESTful API services, or if you are going with software-based web services, that is WSDL. First define your agreement and contract, then develop the your services and deploy it. This is how you have the data here, right? So I think we are done with today's session. Anyone interested to go in deep, anyone interested to go in depth in these technologies or in these concepts, kindly message me, mail me, or you can call me in starting of this session. I've shown you, I've given you my phone number also. So call me. We will discuss. I will share my knowledge. We will have one-to-one session, our online meeting. And this session is like, knowledge sharing session. It's nothing to do with kind of tutoring. It's just knowledge sharing session. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a tutor, not a trainer. I, while uh, while searching for job or trying to find a job for myself, I'm just sharing my knowledge and uploading these videos on YouTube for the beginners, for the freshers, those really interested to know technology, application development or product development technology, and like Java and all the framework attached to Java. That is the reason I'm recording this and uploading all these videos. Anyway, uh, thank you everyone. We will see something different or something new in coming sessions. When I say something new, that is means whatever I have not explained, something new. That is maybe in coming session I will explain something about Java with other frameworks. Thank you everyone.